Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, Transformers fans everywhere, welcome back. LPS, Last Prime Speculator, here to bring you another speculation as always. Today's focus on our speculation will be Sector 7 from the Transformers live-action universe. We're going to discuss in this episode how Sector 7 and the Bumblebee movie has to pretty much confirm this has to be a reboot. If you're new to this channel, make sure to consider subscribing, turn on all notifications, don't forget to like and share this video. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Prime Speculator. With all that away, guys, let's learn about Sector 7. Sector 7. According to Sector 7 director Tom Benachek, the group was first commissioned around the year 1927 under the orders of President Herbert Hoover, though they apparently only answered to the Defense Secretary. Benachek also stated that the first 7 found the Allspark in 1913, but that might have been before Sector 7 was officially formally created. To keep the alien relics secure, the group established a headquarters in the recently constructed Hoover Dam and had the cube transferred there. In the 1930s, Sector 7 operators excavated the alien codename NBE-01 from the Arctic Circle and had his frozen remains transferred to their primary facility. In the years that followed, many modern forms of technology were secretly revised engineered from his frozen body. Eventually, the organization learned that the Allspark's power to bring machines to life and began a battery of experiments to test the limits of the Allspark's capabilities. During this early period, Sector 7 became increasingly aware of the Cybertronian activities on Earth and commissioned Project Black Knife to investigate. They discovered cyberglyphics inscribed in the ruins across the planet, raising the possibilities that the aliens might have been on the planet for a long time. For reasons unknown, however, this evidence was determined inconclusive and the project went nowhere. In the year 1961, an alien ship crash landed on the moon. The race to retrieve the ancient alien technology became the secret of the famous space race between the United States and the Soviet Union. Under the orders of John F. Kennedy, Sector 7 worked with NASA to prepare a manned mission to the moon in 1969. Neil Armstrong's exploration resulted in the discovery of several deceased MBEs, and evidence and logs relating to this top-secret mission was kept in Sector 7's custody. This top-secret operation was deemed to be director-only clearance, with the highest-ranking members of the conspiracy aware of the truth behind the Apollo landings. Years later, Sector 7 discovered that the Soviets had used unmanned probes to collect samples of the alien technology from the ship, one of which was the cause of the nuclear disaster at Chernobyl. In 1987, a training exercise overseen by Jack Burns was interrupted by B-127 making planetfall. Just as the Autobot scout was about to explain himself, the Decepticon seeker, Blitzwing, appeared, posing as an Air Force fighter jet and bombing Burns' squadron before engaging B-127 in a fight that saw the Autobot robbed of his voice box, and the seeker had blown it to bits. Several months later, Burns was informed of a fellow agent, Seymour Simmons, that 2 more Transformers had just made landfall. Burns led a unit to intercept the aliens, introducing themselves as Shatter and Dropkick, the Decepticon Peacekeeping Patrol. Shatter manipulated the humans into forming an alliance so that they could catch B-127, who she claimed was a dangerous escaped criminal. Burns was skeptical of the Decepticons, especially since the Decepticons' name raised red flags to him. But Dr. Powell assured Shatter and Dropkick that he and Burns would discuss the matters with their superior, General Weyland. Weyland sides with Powell and accounts for the Cybertronian upgrades to the American technology being beneficial hopes of winning the Cold War, though he was willing to let Burns terminate the pair once they had captured B-127. The Autobot was eventually tracked to Brighton Falls, California, where an energon surge was detected by the computers modified by the Decepticons. Sector 7, Shatter, and Dropkick traveled there, anticipating B-127, who was now calling himself Bumblebee, and had fallen into the hands of Charlie Watson and Memo. Taking Bumblebee to McKinnon Air Base, the Decepticons tortured the Autobot before triggering a message from the leader Optimus Prime, revealing that the Autobots were regrouping on Earth. Powell radioed Burns on the Decepticons' true colors before being killed by Dropkick. Once they had arrived at the building Bumblebee was held prisoner in, Burns ordered for the doors to be blown open. While Charlie and Memo were being restrained, Bumblebee suddenly snapped and went into a rampage, overpowering Sector 7. However, Burns eventually saw that Bumblebee was no criminal. as the Autobot saved his life after his helicopter was shot down by Shatter. After Bumblebee had killed the two Decepticons and Charlie prevented the transmission from reaching Cybertron, Burns would let the two go. So I hope you guys enjoyed the TF education of Sector 7 in the live-action universe. Now, after all of this lore of Sector 7 in the live-action universe, it's come to my attention, this has to be a reboot. This has to be a reboot. Based off of the very beginning of Sector 7, from the first 7 to the Bumblebee movie, and all these movies, it just wouldn't add up. The continuities would not combine. From Transformers 2007 to the Bumblebee movie. What we knew from Transformers 2007 is that Megatron had crash-landed in the Arctic Circle. Archibald Woodwicki was the first human being to find a Cybertronian on our planet. And soon after, the first 7 would appear and find the Allspark. With all this ancient history that they found, they sworn to keep this a secret. And then that's when they formed the Hoover Dam. So right there, we're already way ahead of when Bumblebee came to Earth based off of the Bumblebee movie. And basically put it under the possession and put it in Hoover Dam. That way it could stay away from any human contact or any alien form trying to find it. The Hoover Dam is located in Nevada. That's the big thing. Now here's the other thing, is that Bumblebee is focused in California. I believe it's in the San Francisco area. This would not add up at all, being that the Allspark is located in the Hoover Dam. And the Hoover Dam is one of the monuments of the United States. Bumblebee crash landed on Earth based off the Bumblebee movie in San Francisco in 1987. Again, it doesn't add up. Now let's talk about the Cold War days. Now we know the Bumblebee movie is focused during the Cold War in 1987. But if you remember in Dark of the Moon in 1961, the Russians also sent an unmanned probe up to the moon to collect samples of the Cybertronian technology. This was after, of course, Neil Armstrong made his exploration and found Sentinel Prime. There's no connection with Sentinel Prime even in the beginning of the Bumblebee movie. Optimus Prime is leading the charge and leading the Autobots against the Decepticons. There is no mention of the Ark or him whatsoever. Staying with Dark of the Moon and everything, the Chernobyl incident. They blamed the Cybertronian technology for the Chernobyl massacre. Now here's the thing. Chernobyl happened in 1986. That's when that huge debacle took place. Again, Bumblebee himself crash landed on Earth in 1987. This would not add up with their own continuity involving Sector 7. So this means during this time, again, that the Russians would have had the ancient Cybertronian technology pre-Bumblebee in 1986. B-127 would arrive on Earth in 1987. So this all would have to take place before Optimus Prime had sent him on his mission. Now, even if you were to say that it took light years for Bumblebee to make it to Earth, it still wouldn't add up because he crash landed again in 1987. Based off the history, it doesn't add up with the Sector 7 continuity in the Transformers live action universe. Here's the other thing too, is that Shatter and Dropkick, apparently, other than obviously Charlie and B, they were the first Transformers to make contact with human beings, particularly the military of Sector 7. Now, at this time, Sector 7 seems more like a secret military team. This would not add up as well, because the first 7 would have already found Megatron and the Allspark, along with Archibald Woodwicki. They do not know at this time that B-127 has made contact with Charlie yet. Shatter and Dropkick also bribed the military, if you help us, we'll help you. Based off of their Cybertronian technology, they were actually responsible for creating the World Wide Web. And this was a reason for the United States military to get ahead of their arch rivals, the Russians, during the Cold War. This would help them create the World Wide Web. Now you're probably also thinking to yourself, what about Agent Simmons? There was a little Easter egg in Bumblebee movie with Agent Simmons. Now there is a connection with Agent Simmons and Sector 7. Agent Simmons became the leader of the Sector 7 project in the Transformers 2007 movie. In this one, Jack Burns is actually running the show. Now this could mean a couple of things. One, this has to be a reboot. 2, this is no way a prequel. Or 3, Agent Simmons could actually be working as a Black Ops soldier. What I'm saying is that Agent Burns might be thinking Sector 7 is some Black Ops team involving military purposes, when actually above classified, Agent Simmons could be working under the nose of the government and already be informing a more sinister Black Ops for Sector 7, which means maybe they did have Megatron at this time. I don't think so, but that's the only way it could possibly even make sense, is that he's working literally under Sector 7, like above classified, for instance. This would mean that Agent Burns would have to be in the dark of his own operation, which, the way Agent Burns is, I highly doubt that. Especially General Wayland, who instructs Agent Burns that after Dr. Powell gets his technology and they learn about it and they get B-127, that he would be allowed to destroy the Decepticons, which you could tell Agent Burns does not trust them. I think Agent Burns has too much of a stronghold on this, and there's no history of technology for them to be operating on. Because in the first Transformers movie, they were already using the Allspark to use the energy and the Energon to basically use technology to create little Cybertronians. You remember when Agent Simmons had him in that little box, and then what do you call it, the little Energizer bunny from hell? That wouldn't add up. They're all in different locations too. Their base is held in California, while in Agent Simmons' time, it's in the Hoover Dam. The only way that even Agent Simmons could possibly be doing this is if somehow his operations is idea of a Men in Black, knowing and keeping the alien secrecy under wraps, even from his own military, which is possible. But based on all this research of Sector 7 and their beloved humans in the Transformers live action universe, since the creators love to use humans so much, their own continuity wouldn't add up with their own creation of the Sector 7. I'm actually a fan of the Sector 7. It makes a lot of sense. I also feel that if aliens did come to Earth, the military would be the first ones to respond to alien contact as well. But it just doesn't add up. This would have to confirm that Sector 7 proves that Bumblebee the movie is actually a reboot. If you're new to this channel, make sure to consider subscribing, turn on all notifications. Don't forget to like and share this video. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Prime Speculator. That way you can stay up to date with all my Transformers speculation, spoilers, news, and all that good stuff. To my subscribers, I love you so much. This is LPS here to bring you another Transformers speculation. Peace.